Hello there, and welcome to the Sleep Porch. Tonight we're stepping into one of the richest and most mysterious habitats on Earth, the jungle. These dense green realms cover only a small fraction of the planet, yet they hold more life than any other environment. Within a single acre, scientists can count thousands of species, many of them still unknown. If this content interests you, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support motivates us to continue creating more meaningful videos. Jungles are more than tropical forests. They are living engines that recycle their own rain, forming clouds and shaping weather far beyond their borders. Trees rise hundreds of feet into the air. Vines stretch between them like ropes. And hidden among the leaves are creatures so unusual they seem almost unreal. Some glow in the dark, others disappear in perfect camouflage, and many hold secrets that science is only beginning to uncover. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, I invite you to like and subscribe or simply share a thought in the comments below. It helps others find their way here as well, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, you do not need to do anything at all. Let the noise of the day fade away. Let your breathing slow and allow yourself to wander through the hidden lives of the jungle. Let's begin. A single jungle tree can be home to more than 2,000 species. In the jungle, one tree can hold an entire world of life. From its roots deep in the soil to the highest leaves brushing the canopy, countless creatures find shelter. Ants march along the bark, weaving invisible highways. Birds build nests in the branches, while frogs hide in pools of water caught between the leaves. Epipetes, plants that grow upon other plants, turn the tree into a vertical garden, creating more homes within its crown. Microbes, fungi, insects, mammals, and reptiles can all depend on that one living pillar. Scientists estimate that in some tropical forests, a single large tree can support more than 2,000 distinct species, each one interacting with the others in ways we are still trying to understand. A single trunk becomes not just a plant, but a city alive, interconnected and humming with hidden dramas. The Amazon jungle produces its own rain. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the planet, but it is also a maker of storms. Every tree releases moisture into the air through its leaves, a process known as transpiration. With more than 400 billion trees across the basin, the amount of water vapor rising skyward each day is staggering. That vapor cools, condenses, and returns as rain, falling back to nourish the very forest that created it. Scientists believe that almost half of the Amazon's rainfall is recycled this way, sometimes raining down multiple times before finally drifting away. In effect, the jungle waters itself, sustaining its own abundance. The scale of the cycle is so immense that satellites have tracked vast plumes of moisture drifting from the Amazon into neighboring regions, showing how one forest helps to shape the weather of an entire continent. Some jungle vines can grow over 200 feet long. In the competition for light, jungle plants will do whatever it takes to reach the sun. Vines known as lianas use the strength of trees as ladders, climbing ever upward. Some of these woody vines grow so long they can stretch for more than 200 feet, curling and looping through the canopy like natural ropes. They connect tree to tree, creating bridges for monkeys, sloths, and even leaping frogs. In storms, they can act like anchors, binding multiple trees together and reducing the chance of collapse. But vines also steal resources, sometimes strangling the very trees they climb. The sight of a single liana can be breathtaking, a living cord thicker than a person's arm, looping endlessly toward the light above. Each one is a reminder of how fierce and creative life can be in its search for survival. There are fish that can climb trees in the jungle. In the flooded forests of the Amazon, some fish have learned to break the boundaries of water. Known as climbing catfish, or sometimes as armored catfish, these small creatures have specialized fins and mouths that allow them to cling to rocks, roots, and even the trunks of trees. When water levels rise during the wet season, these fish are carried into the forest. As the floods recede, some are left behind in shallow pools. To survive, they climb their way back toward the rivers, gripping bark and slipping between roots with surprising skill. Watching a fish make its way up a tree is both surreal and mesmerizing. A reminder that the jungle is full of adaptations that blur the line between worlds. Here, nothing is entirely fixed. Even a fish may learn to travel where it should not belong. More species are found in jungles than in all other biomes combined. When scientists speak of biodiversity, jungles sit at the very top of the scale. These green realms cover only a small fraction of Earth's surface, yet they harbor more than half of all known species. Birds, mammals, amphibians, reptiles, insects, plants, fungi, and microorganisms, the list seems endless. New species are discovered every year, many of them tiny and easily overlooked. Yet each one is part of the greater web of life. No desert, grassland, or ocean matches the density of living forms concentrated here. In one patch of forest, no larger than a city block, researchers have cataloged hundreds of tree species, thousands of insects, and countless other forms of life. It is staggering to realize that the majority of the world's living diversity is concentrated in jungles. A reminder that these ecosystems are not just rich, but irreplaceable. Some jungles are so loud they rival a city in volume. Step into a jungle at dawn or dusk, and the soundscape is overwhelming. Birds cry from every direction. Insects trill in constant rhythm. Frogs croak in unison, and unseen mammals call across the trees. Together, this chorus creates a wall of sound that can rival the noise level of a busy city. Scientists who have measured jungle soundscapes with sensitive instruments have recorded decibel levels similar to those of traffic or bustling marketplaces. Yet, unlike human noise, jungle sound is layered, patterned, and alive. Each core has its place. Some creatures sing at higher frequencies, others at lower, leaving room for all to be heard. For the animals, sound is survival, a way to claim territory, attract mates, or warn of danger. For us, it is a reminder that these forests are never still, always speaking in a language of endless life. There are plants that can walk slowly across the forest floor. Among the most unusual plants of the jungle is the so-called walking palm. Its roots grow not just downward, but outward in stilt-like formations. If a tree is shaded or needs more light, new roots sprout on the side closer to the sun, while older roots on the darker side wither away. Over time, the entire tree appears to shift inch by inch across the ground. Scientists debate how much a walking palm can actually move, but many believe it may shift several feet over the course of its life. To stand before a tree that seems capable of changing its place in the world is both unsettling and wondrous. In the jungle, even the seemingly immobile can find ways to move, adapting endlessly to the struggle for sunlight. The canopy holds hidden lakes of rainwater high above the ground. The jungle canopy is more than a roof of leaves. In its folds and hollows, water collects and lingers. Bromeliads, with their rosary-shaped leaves, create pools that sit high in the air, suspended above the forest floor. These tiny lakes, no bigger than a bowl, can support entire ecosystems. Frogs lay their eggs within them. Insects glide through their waters, and even small crabs and snails may settle there. For creatures that never return to the ground, these canopy pools provide everything needed to survive. From the outside, the jungle may appear as one endless sea of green. But within it, each layer forms its own world, complete with rivers, lakes, and hidden habitats stacked one above another. From the roots below to the water-filled leaves above, some jungle trees release chemicals that help shape clouds. High above the canopy, chemistry begins to influence the sky. Certain trees emit tiny organic compounds into the air, invisible to the human eye. Once airborne, these molecules interact with sunlight and surrounding particles, forming microscopic aerosols. These aerosols act as seeds for cloud droplets, allowing water vapor to condense into visible clouds. In this way, the trees themselves help shape the weather, calling forth shade and rain from the air. Satellites have captured plumes of these tree-borne emissions drifting above the Amazon and the Congo, showing how forests breathe not only oxygen, but also the very materials of clouds. It is astonishing to think that a stand of trees can alter the sky, bending the atmosphere toward rain. Jungles are not only rich in life, they are engines that sculpt the climate above them. A single square mile of jungle can contain more than 50,000 insect species. Insects dominate the jungle in both numbers and diversity. A single square mile of tropical forest can contain more than 50,000 distinct species of beetles, ants, flies, moths, and countless others. Many of these creatures are still unnamed, existing only as fleeting encounters between researcher and specimen. To walk through the forest is to pass by an endless parade of forms, from jewel-bright beetles that glitter like metal to camouflaged insects that vanish into bark or leaf. The sheer abundance is almost beyond comprehension. Insects pollinate flowers, recycle nutrients, feed larger animals, and shape the forest in ways both subtle and immense. Every tree, every leaf, every drop of water is alive with them. The scale of insect diversity in jungles is not just remarkable, it is one of the greatest concentrations of life anywhere on Earth. Certain jungle ants farm fungi underground. In the hidden chambers beneath the jungle floor, some ants have become skilled farmers. Leafcutter ants collect pieces of fresh greenery, not to eat directly, but to carry back to their underground nests. There they chew the leaves into pulp and cultivate a special fungus that grows only within their colonies. This fungus becomes the ant's primary food source, tended with care and protected from contaminants. Workers prune away unwanted molds, while others bring in new leaves to feed the fungal garden. The scale of these operations can be astonishing. A single colony may contain millions of ants and vast networks of tunnels. Long before humans learned to farm crops, these tiny insects had already mastered agriculture. Their hidden gardens are some of the most sophisticated examples of cooperation in the natural world. Poison dart frogs carry enough toxin to kill large animals. Brightly colored and no larger than a thumb, poison dart frogs are among the most striking creatures of the jungle. Their brilliant hues, yellow, blue, green, or red, are warnings, signals of the danger they carry within. Some species possess enough toxin in their skin to kill a large animal or even several humans. Indigenous peoples of South America once used these potent chemicals to tip the points of hunting darts, giving the frogs their name. The toxins are not produced by the frogs themselves, but are derived from the insects they eat, concentrated and stored in their bodies. What makes them extraordinary is the delicate balance of survival they represent. Fragile in size, yet equipped with one of the most powerful defenses in nature. A tiny frog, luminous under the canopy's shade, becomes a living symbol of the jungle's beauty and danger. The Amazon has more than 400 billion individual trees. Stretching across 9 countries, the Amazon jungle is home to an almost unthinkable number of trees. Scientists estimate there are more than 400 billion individuals, representing over 16,000 species. Each tree is a world unto itself, supporting vines, orchids, insects, and countless other organisms. Together, they create the largest continuous canopy on Earth, a living roof that spans millions of square kilometers. These trees regulate global climate, storing vast amounts of carbon and producing moisture that feeds weather systems far beyond South America. To grasp the scale, imagine counting one tree every second. It would take more than 12,000 years to finish. The Amazon is not just a forest. It is an unfathomably vast assembly of living beings. A green expanse so immense that even satellites struggle to capture its entirety. Some jungle flowers open only once every several decades. Hidden deep within tropical forests are plants whose lives unfold on timescales far beyond our own. One of the most mysterious is the giant Titan aram, sometimes called the corpse flower for its overwhelming odor. This colossal bloom can take decades to store enough energy to flower. When it finally does, the event lasts only a few days, releasing a smell of rotting flesh to attract pollinating insects. In the jungles of Southeast Asia, another flower, Raffalea, opens into a massive red blossom that can be 3 feet across, also appearing only rarely. These plants seem to measure time differently, waiting years, even lifetimes, before revealing their astonishing blooms. To encounter one is to witness a fleeting miracle, the jungle pausing for a brief dramatic spectacle before returning to its hidden rhythms. In jungles, vines can strangle fully grown trees to death. Competition for sunlight in the jungle is fierce, and some plants take ruthless approaches to survival. Strangler figs begin life as seeds dropped by birds onto the branches of other trees. From there, they send roots downward, wrapping around the host's trunk. Over time, the fig's roots thicken into a lattice, tightening their grip while drawing nutrients and blocking sunlight. Eventually, the host tree weakens and dies, leaving behind a hollow column of fig roots that have fused into a new trunk. What begins as a delicate seedling perched high in the canopy ends as a towering fig that has consumed its host. This dramatic transformation is a reminder of how survival in the jungle is not always peaceful, but often a matter of slow, inexorable conquest. A jaguar's bite can crush through a turtle's shell. The jaguar is the largest cat of the Americas and one of the most formidable predators in any jungle. Unlike lions or tigers, which usually target soft areas when hunting, the jaguar has an unusually powerful bite. Its jaw muscles and skull are built for strength, allowing it to pierce through the armored shells of turtles with ease. This unique ability sets it apart from other big cats, enabling it to feed on prey that would be inaccessible to most predators. Jaguars often hunt silently, swimming across rivers or stalking through dense undergrowth before delivering a single crushing bite to the skull or shell of their target. Their power is extraordinary, but it is paired with a quiet elegance, a reminder of how strength and stealth combine in the jungle's apex hunters. Some jungle plants can sense touch and curl away from it. Not all jungle plants are passive. The sensitive plant, known scientifically as Mimosa pudica, responds dramatically to contact. When touched, its feathery leaves fold inward within seconds, collapsing as though retreating from harm. This motion is driven by rapid pressure changes within the plant's cells, shifting water in and out to produce movement. The effect is so striking it seems almost animal-like, a plant visibly reacting to the world around it. Scientists believe this response helps deter herbivores and protect against heavy rain or falling debris. To brush against a cluster of these plants in the jungle is to witness something uncanny. Greenery that does not merely endure but reacts, recoils, and defends itself in real time. Termite mounds in jungles can rise taller than people. Beneath the surface, termites live in immense societies. These tiny insects gather soil, saliva, and plant matter to build towering mounds that can stand higher than an adult human. Inside, the architecture is astonishingly complex, with tunnels, chambers, and ventilation shafts that regulate temperature and humidity. Some mounds are so vast they can house millions of termites, functioning like superorganisms, with specialized castes for workers, soldiers, and royalty. From the outside, they resemble strange earthen sculptures blending into the landscape. But within, they are bustling with life. Organized and precise, these structures show how even the tiniest creatures can shape their environment on a monumental scale, leaving marks on the jungle that can last for decades or even centuries. The humidity in jungles can be close to 100%. Walking into a jungle is like stepping into a living cloud. The air is heavy with water vapor, clinging to skin and filling every breath. In some regions, humidity levels approach 100%, creating an atmosphere that feels almost liquid. This constant dampness shapes every aspect of jungle life. Leaves grow large with pointed tips to shed water. Animals adapt to thrive in endless moisture. From frogs whose skin must stay wet to fungi that flourish in the damp shadows. For humans, the sensation can be overwhelming. Sweat does not evaporate. Clothing clings, and the air itself seems to press down with weight. Yet for the organisms that live here, such conditions are perfect. The jungle is not just wet from rainfall, it is wet from the very air, a place where moisture is as constant as the green. Some jungles have rivers that boil. Deep in the Peruvian Amazon flows a river unlike any other. Known locally as Champishka, meaning boiled with the heat of the sun, its waters reach temperatures hot enough to cause serious burns. Stretching for several miles, this river appears to bubble and steam as if fed by volcanic springs. Yet it lies far from any volcano, leaving scientists puzzled. The heat is thought to come from geothermal activity deep underground, where rainwater seeps into cracks and is superheated before rising back to the surface. Local legends tell of spirits guarding the river, while modern research marvels at its uniqueness. To stand at its banks is to witness a phenomenon so rare that few places like it exist on Earth. A boiling river hidden within the jungle where water becomes as dangerous as fire. The forest floor can be so dark that few plants grow there. Beneath the thick ceiling of leaves, sunlight struggles to touch the ground. In some jungles, less than 2% of daylight ever reaches the forest floor. The result is a shadowed world, humid and quiet, where very few plants can grow. Instead of green carpets, the ground is often bare, layered only with fallen leaves and the roots of towering trees. The lack of light forces life to adapt in unusual ways. Seedlings may wait years, even decades, for a gap in the canopy to open, suddenly racing upward when a tree falls. Animals take advantage of the dimness, moving softly and unseen. It is a world of patience and shadows, where growth is measured in moments of opportunity, and where survival often depends not on abundance, but on waiting for the light to break through. Certain trees can communicate with each other through fungi. Hidden beneath the soil lies a network as complex as any highway system. Tiny filaments of fungi connect the roots of different trees, allowing them to share signals and even resources. Through this wood-wide web, trees can warn neighbors of insect attacks or send nutrients to weaker companions. In the jungle, where life is densely packed and competition is fierce, this underground network adds another layer of cooperation and complexity. A towering tree may funnel energy to its own seedlings, giving them a better chance to survive in the dim forest floor. Others may transmit chemical messages that trigger defenses in nearby plants. To know that trees are not isolated beings, but parts of a vast hidden conversation, changes how we see the jungle. Not as a collection of individuals, but as a living community whispering through the soil. Some jungle bats pollinate flowers at night. When the sun sets and the forest darkens, bats take flight, while many hunt insects. Some species specialize in sipping nectar from jungle flowers. With long tongues and sensitive noses, they hover at blossoms, dusting themselves with pollen before moving on to the next. By morning, entire stands of plants may have been pollinated, all thanks to these night-flying mammals. In places like Central and South America, bats are essential for crops such as bananas, guavas, and cacao, the source of chocolate. Their work supports not only the jungle's wild plants, but also foods that humans depend on. The balance is delicate. Many flowers open only at night, releasing scents that attract bats, perfectly timed for these nocturnal visitors. In the unseen hours, while most of the forest sleeps, bats quietly weave together the cycles of life, one sip of nectar at a time. The harpy eagle has talons larger than a grizzly bear's claws. High in the canopy lives a predator as awe-inspiring as any jungle cat, the harpy eagle. With a wingspan stretching beyond 7 feet, it is among the largest and most powerful eagles on Earth. But its most remarkable feature is its talons. Each can reach up to 5 inches long, larger than the claws of a grizzly bear. With this extraordinary grip, the harpy eagle can snatch monkeys and sloths straight from the branches, carrying them away in powerful flight. Despite their size, these birds move with surprising agility, weaving through the trees with precision. They are rare and elusive, often seen only as a fleeting shadow passing overhead. Yet in that moment, the jungle reveals one of its most formidable hunters, a bird whose strength rivals that of beasts far larger than itself. A single jungle leaf can hide an entire micro-ecosystem. To human eyes, a leaf may seem like a simple surface of green, but in the jungle, one leaf can hold a universe. Tiny insects graze on its edges, while others lay eggs in delicate clusters. Ants that troll its surface, guarding against intruders in exchange for nectar. Microscopic fungi and bacteria live in its tissues, breaking down waste and recycling nutrients. Sometimes water pools in the grooves, creating a miniature pond where even smaller creatures swim. Researchers studying individual leaves in tropical forests often find dozens of species interacting on that single surface. To scale it up, imagine how many lives unfold across every tree, every branch, every vine. The jungle teaches us that scale is deceptive. What looks small to us may be vast and teeming for the beings who live upon it. Sloths grow algae in their fur to camouflage. Sloths are among the slowest moving mammals on Earth, and in the jungle, slowness can be dangerous. Yet, these gentle creatures have turned their pace into protection. Their thick fur creates a humid environment that allows green algae to grow directly on their bodies. This natural coating blends them seamlessly with the surrounding leaves, making them nearly invisible to predators like jaguars and harpy eagles. The relationship goes further. Moths live in the sloth's fur, and when they die, they provide nutrients for the algae, deepening the camouflage. In return, some sloths even lick the algae, gaining a bit of extra nutrition. What seems like an odd quirk is actually a carefully balanced ecosystem carried on the back of a single animal. A sloth resting quietly in the treetops becomes not just an individual, but a moving garden hidden in plain sight. Some jungle plants can shoot seeds like tiny bullets. In the dense competition of the jungle, dispersal is everything. Some plants rely on animals to carry their seeds, but others have developed a more dramatic method: explosion, known as ballistic dispersal. Certain seed pods dry and build tension until they burst, flinging seeds outward with surprising force. Some can launch their offspring more than 30 feet away, scattering them far from the shadow of the parent. To witness such a release is startling. A sudden crack, followed by a spray of seeds whirring into the undergrowth. This strategy ensures that new seedlings have a better chance of finding light and space. In a place where survival depends on avoiding the crowd, even plants have become inventors of motion, turning stillness into sudden bursts of energy that echo through the quiet of the forest floor. There are snakes that glide from tree to tree. Among the most astonishing sights in the jungle is a snake that takes to the air. Certain species, such as the paradise tree snake of Southeast Asia, can flatten their bodies and leap from high branches. By undulating mid-air, they create lift, gliding gracefully from one tree to another. Though they never truly fly, their controlled descent can cover distances of more than 100 feet. For the snakes, this ability offers both escape from predators and access to prey. To see a serpent normally bound to the earth, transforming into a ribbon of motion through the canopy, is to be reminded that the jungle is full of surprises. Here, even gravity becomes negotiable, and creatures learn to move in ways that defy expectation. Some jungles house caves full of millions of bats. Within the limestone cliffs of tropical forests lie caverns that seem alive. These caves can house millions of bats clustered in vast colonies. At dusk, they emerge in a swirling storm, blackening the sky as they fan out to feed on insects. The sheer number of bats can be overwhelming, their wings creating a wind that rustles leaves and bends grasses. Inside the caves, the walls are coated with guano, a nutrient-rich deposit that supports unique communities of insects and fungi. These colonies play an essential role in the ecosystem, consuming staggering numbers of insects each night and fertilizing the forest with their waste. Standing at the mouth of such a cave, one sees the jungle's hidden power made visible. An eruption of life that transforms nightfall into a living cloud. There are ants that explode to defend their colonies. In the endless arms race of the jungle, even the smallest warriors can be dramatic. Some species of ants found in Southeast Asia have evolved a defense so extreme it borders on the unbelievable. They can explode. When threatened, these ants rupture special glands inside their bodies, releasing sticky, toxic chemicals that immobilize their enemies. The act kills the ant itself, but saves the colony. This strategy of self-sacrifice is rare in the animal kingdom. Yet in the dense competition of the jungle, it offers survival for the many at the cost of the few. To encounter such ants is to realize how far life will go in its drive to persist. Even among creatures so small, the jungle produces strategies as astonishing as any found among its largest predators. The Amazon River carries one of the world's freshwater. Winding for more than 4,000 meters, the Amazon River is not just the lifeline of the jungle. Their work supports not only the jungle's wild plants, but also foods that humans depend on. The balance is delicate. Many flowers open only at night, releasing scents that attract bats, perfectly timed for these nocturnal visitors. In the unseen hours, while most of the forest sleeps, bats quietly weave together the cycles of life, one sip of nectar at a time. The harpy eagle has talons larger than a grizzly bear's claws. High in the canopy lives a predator as awe-inspiring as any jungle cat, the harpy eagle. With a wingspan stretching beyond 7 feet, it is among the largest and most powerful eagles on Earth. But its most remarkable feature is its talons. Each can reach up to 5 inches long, larger than the claws of a grizzly bear. With this extraordinary grip, the harpy eagle can snatch monkeys and sloths straight from the branches, carrying them away in powerful flight. Despite their size, these birds move with surprising agility, weaving through the trees with precision. They are rare and elusive, often seen only as a fleeting shadow passing overhead. The turtles, seemingly unbothered, continue basking in the sun, while dozens of delicate wings flutter around them. Scientists call this behavior lacrophagy, or tear feeding, and it reveals how even the smallest details of life are interconnected in the jungle. The sight of butterflies drinking tears is both tender and surreal, a reminder that in this realm, survival often comes from unexpected relationships, and beauty is stitched into the fabric of necessity. Tree frogs can survive freezing and then thaw back to life. Some tree frogs of the tropics, particularly those living off high elevations or in seasonal forests, have evolved a remarkable survival trick. When temperatures drop dangerously low, their bodies can freeze solid. Ice forms around their organs and even within their tissues. Yet, they do not die. Special proteins and sugars in their blood act like antifreeze, protecting their cells from damage. When the air warms again, the frogs thaw. Their hearts begin to beat once more, and they return to life as if nothing had happened. This ability is almost science fiction, an animal pausing itself through the coldest nights, then continuing on at dawn. Though rare in the jungle's warm heart, these frogs show the extremes of adaptation. They are living proof that even in the most humid and lush places, nature finds ways to endure the unexpected. The canopy creates its own wind currents. The jungle canopy is not only a roof of leaves, but also a vast living landscape that reshapes the air. Sunlight warms the treetops during the day, creating rising currents of warm air. At night, as the canopy cools, air sinks back down, stirring subtle winds. The sheer density of leaves and branches adds friction, breaking up air movement into swirling eddies that dance through the upper layers of the forest. For insects, birds, and bats, these currents are essential highways, helping them travel or carry scents from flower to flower. Scientists studying the atmosphere above jungles find that the canopy behaves almost like an ocean surface, creating waves and turbulence that ripple through the sky. Beneath the trees, the air may seem still, but above, an invisible sea of wind flows, shaped entirely by the living surface of the forest itself. Some jungle plants trap insects in pools of water high in the canopy, where soil is scarce. Some plants have turned to ingenious strategies for survival. Bromeliads and pitcher plants create pools within their leaves filled with rainwater. Insects that wander too close often fall in, unable to escape. Over time, the trapped creatures decompose, releasing nutrients that the plant absorbs. This adaptation allows the plants to thrive in places where other sources of nourishment are limited. These miniature pools become entire ecosystems, housing not only trapped insects, but also tadpoles, larvae, and even tiny crabs. Some frogs depend on them as nurseries for their young. What seems like a simple leaf becomes a world of predators, prey, and partnerships, suspended high above the ground. In the jungle, every surface can become either a home or a trap. A jungle can create its own microclimate. Step into the dense heart of one, and you enter a world with its own weather. The thick canopy shades the ground, keeping it cooler than the open air beyond. At the same time, millions of leaves release water vapor, making the air humid and heavy. Together, these forces create a microclimate, a small-scale atmosphere that can differ dramatically from the surrounding region. Some jungles are so efficient at recycling rainfall that they generate storms overhead, feeding themselves again and again. Even a clearing among the trees may develop its own pattern of wind, light, and moisture. These microclimates allow species to specialize in niches only a few meters wide. The jungle is not a single environment, but many overlapping ones, layered and shifting, each alive with its own rhythms. Some monkeys use tools made from stones or sticks. Tool use is not unique to humans. In the jungles of South America and Asia, capuchin monkeys and macaques have been seen cracking nuts with stones, using sticks to extract insects from logs, and even probing for water. These behaviors are learned and passed down through generations, evidence of culture among primates. Young monkeys watch older individuals and imitate their techniques, slowly mastering the skills. In some regions, entire groups develop distinctive methods, almost like traditions unique to their troop. This intelligence reveals the deep connections between us and our primate relatives. Watching a monkey hammer open a nut with careful precision feels both familiar and humbling, a glimpse of the shared ingenuity that has shaped life in the jungles for millions of years. There are beetles that glow like living lanterns. As night falls in the jungle, light does not disappear, it changes form. Among the shadows, certain beetles glow with an inner flame. Bioluminescent enzymes within their bodies release a steady green or yellow light, shining like lanterns in the dark. These glows can serve multiple purposes, attracting mates, warding off predators, or luring in prey. Entire hillsides can twinkle with these living sparks, creating scenes that seem like reflections of the stars above. The phenomenon is not limited to beetles, fireflies, and other insects join in, painting the night with pulses of light. To walk through a jungle alive with bioluminescence is to witness one of nature's quiet wonders. A reminder that illumination is not only the gift of the sun, but also of life itself, shining softly in the darkness. Jungle vines inspired the first suspension bridges. For thousands of years, human communities living in jungles have studied the natural structures around them. One of the most remarkable lessons came from vines. Stretching like ropes between trees, the anas are strong, flexible, and enduring. Observing their strength, early civilizations in South America wove vines together to create suspension bridges over rivers and ravines. Some of these living bridges, reinforced by plants that continued to grow, lasted for centuries. The idea spread into architecture, inspiring modern suspension bridges of steel and cable. What began as a jungle adaptation, plants climbing toward light, began the model for human engineering feats that now span entire cities. In every strand of liana swinging above the forest floor, there is not just a path for animals, but also the blueprint for human imagination. Some jungle ants march in columns stretching hundreds of feet. Army ants are among the most feared and fascinating insects of the jungle. They travel in massive columns, with millions of individuals moving as a single, coordinated force. These living rivers can stretch for hundreds of feet, flowing across the forest floor in search of prey. Anything caught in their path, insects, spiders, even small vertebrates, may be quickly overwhelmed and stripped clean. Yet, the march is also a marvel of organization. Scouts rush ahead, soldiers guard the flanks, and workers carry the spoils back to temporary nests called bivouacs, made entirely of their interlocked bodies. For the jungle, these marches are both destructive and regenerative, recycling nutrients and reshaping the balance of life. Watching such a column is to witness collective intelligence in action. A swarm behaving as if it were a single organism, relentless and unstoppable. Giant centipedes in jungles can hunt bats in flight. The jungle is filled with predators, but few are as unexpected as the giant centipede. Growing nearly a foot long, with dozens of legs rippling in perfect coordination, it hunts not only insects, but also frogs, lizards, and even birds. In the darkness of caves, these centipedes perform an astonishing feat. They climb stalactites and ceilings, anchoring themselves upside down, and wait. When bats fly past in dense swarms, the centipede lashes out, seizing one from the air. With its venomous pincers, it subdues the bat and begins to feed, suspended above the cave floor. To see a small invert capture a flying mammal mid-air is shocking. A reminder that size does not always determine power. In the jungle, danger is everywhere. And even creatures that creep silently in the shadows may reveal hunting strategies as dramatic as any of the great cats. The world's largest flower, Rafflesia, grows only in jungles. Deep in the jungles of Southeast Asia blooms a plant unlike any other, Rafflesia arnoldi. Its blossom can measure more than 3 feet across, with thick, leathery petals mottled in deep red and white. At full bloom, the flower can weigh over 15 pounds, making it the largest individual flower on Earth. Yet its beauty comes with a twist. To attract pollinators, Rafflesia emits a smell that resembles rotting flesh, earning it the name corpse flower. Flies drawn to carrion instead crawl across its petals, spreading pollen from bloom to bloom. Rafflesia itself has no leaves or stems. It lives as a parasite within jungle vines, hidden most of the time, only revealing itself when it flowers. These rare events last just a few days, turning the forest floor into a surreal spectacle. When it appears, it feels less like a plant and more like an alien life form, strange and unforgettable. Jungle soil contains secrets of ancient civilizations. The Amazon is often imagined as untouched wilderness, but the soil tells another story. Archaeologists have discovered dark patches of earth called tarapa, or black earth, scattered throughout the basin. Unlike the thin, nutrient-poor soils typical of the jungle, tarapa is fertile and long-lasting. It is filled with charcoal, broken pottery, fish bones, and plant remains, evidence that it was created deliberately by ancient peoples. Some of these soils date back more than 2,000 years, suggesting that large, complex societies once thrived here. The presence of Terra Preta has transformed our understanding of the Amazon. It shows that the jungle was not simply an uninhabited expanse, but a landscape shaped and enriched by human hands. Today, these soils remain fertile, still supporting crops. Each handful of earth carries whispers of forgotten civilizations, a record of ingenuity hidden beneath the roots of the forest. Some jungles hide entire lost cities beneath their trees. For centuries, explorers spoke of lost cities swallowed by the jungle, dismissed by many as myths. Yet new technologies have revealed that these legends were true. Using LIDI, a form of laser mapping that can see through vegetation, archaeologists have uncovered vast ancient cities beneath the canopies of Central and South America. Hidden beneath trees are plazas, pyramids, roads, and networks of canals stretching for miles. Some sites rival modern cities in size, suggesting populations in the hundreds of thousands. Over time, vines, roots, and soil reclaimed these structures until they became indistinguishable from the forest itself. Walking through such a jungle means treading unknowingly above stone temples and streets. History lies buried in green silence. The jungle is not only a home for animals and plants. It is also a vault of human stories, cities erased by time, yet preserved beneath the relentless grip of the forest. The Amazon jungle creates a flying river of moisture in the sky. Above the basin flows an invisible river, not of water on land, but of vapor overhead. Billions of trees release moisture through their leaves in a process called transpiration. Together, they exhale so much vapor that it forms a vast plume drifting westward, carrying more water than the mighty Amazon River itself. This flying river helps sustain rainfall not only within the forest, but across distant farmland and cities thousands of miles away. Without it, parts of South America might fade into dry, barren landscapes. Satellites have captured these streams of vapor rising into the atmosphere, revealing how powerfully the jungle shapes weather. The Amazon is not merely a local ecosystem. It is a climate engine influencing an entire continent. To realize that trees can summon rivers in the sky is to understand that jungles are architects of the atmosphere as much as of the land. Certain plants release fragrances smelling of rotting flesh. In the jungle, survival often depends on attracting pollinators, and some plants achieve this in the strangest of ways. Flowers like the corpse lily and titanoram produce odor that mimic decaying meat. To human senses, the stench is overpowering enough to make people recoil. But to flies and beetles that normally feed on cerium, it is irresistible. Drawn by the scent, they crawl deep into the flower, inadvertently carrying pollen with them. This strategy is crucial for plants that bloom rarely or briefly, ensuring that their brief moment of flowering is successful. Some blossoms are massive, others small and inconspicuous, but all share the same trick of deception. In the jungle, sweetness is not always the way to attract life. Sometimes, the foulest smell serves the most vital purpose, turning decay into a lure and making pollination a drama of disguise. Jungle rivers hide electric eels that can deliver shocking jolts. Beneath the muddy waters of the Amazon swim electric eels, among the most remarkable fish in the world. Despite their name, they are not true eels, but relatives of catfish. They can grow over 8 feet long and possess thousands of specialized cells called electrolytes. By discharging them in unison, the eel generates shocks up to 600 volts, enough to stun prey or deter predators. These jolts are so powerful that they can knock a human off balance or cause an animal to retreat instantly. Yet electric eels also use gentler pulses, like radar, mapping their environment in dark, murky waters. In the flooded forests where visibility is poor, electricity becomes both weapon and sense. To encounter one is to witness a creature that has mastered an invisible force, carrying lightning in its body as naturally as lungs carry air. Some jungle insects can walk on water. At the edges of jungle streams, delicate insects called water striders perform a quiet miracle of physics. Their legs are long and tipped with microscopic hairs that repel water, allowing them to distribute their weight across the surface without sinking. They skate effortlessly, darting across pools and rivers in pursuit of prey. From above, their movements ripple outward in perfect circles. For these insects, the water's surface is not a barrier, but a pathway, a hunting ground, and an escape route in one. They feed on small creatures that fall into the water, recycling energy back into the ecosystem. To see them skim across a glassy pool is to realize that in the jungle, even the laws of nature are stretched into possibility. The line between air and water becomes a stage, and creatures learn to dance upon it. Makor can live for more than 50 years in the wild. Brilliant flashes of red, blue, and yellow sweep across the canopy. When Makor take flight, these parrots are not only striking in appearance, but also remarkable in longevity. In the wild, many Makor live for more than 50 years, and some in captivity surpass 70. They form lifelong pair bonds, with mates often seen flying together, calling back and forth in constant communication. Their intelligence allows them to solve problems, mimic sounds, and pass knowledge to their young. In the jungle, their loud voices echo for miles, helping flocks stay together as they search for fruit and nuts. A single Makor may outlive multiple generations of other animals, becoming a steady presence in the forest for decades. To think of a bird watching the jungle change over half a century is to glimpse the deep, slow rhythms of life in the canopy. There are fungi that turn ants into zombies. The jungle hides dramas stranger than fiction, and few are more unsettling than the story of zombie ants. A parasitic fungus called Ophiocordyceps infects an ant and begins to grow inside its body. The fungus releases chemicals that alter the ant's behavior, compelling it to climb a plant and bite into a leaf or stem. Once anchored, the ant dies and the fungus bursts forth, releasing spores that drift down to infect others. Each species of fungus is specialized to target a specific type of ant, a chilling precision honed by evolution. For the colony, these infections can spread like wildfire, disrupting entire populations. To witness an ant frozen in place with a strange stalk sprouting from its head is to see nature's darker side, an organism controlling another from within. In the jungle, even minds can be conquered in the endless struggle for survival. Some trees can flood entire valleys with their roots. In the jungle, roots can dominate landscapes as much as trunks and branches. Certain figs and banyan trees send down aerial roots from their branches like living ropes. Over decades, these roots thicken into secondary trunks, spreading outward in all directions. Eventually, a single tree can give rise to a whole forest of interconnected pillars, shading an area that once stretched across open ground. In some valleys, these sprawling root systems alter the flow of water, creating new wetlands and redirecting streams. For animals, such root forests become shelter. Monkeys leap between columns, birds nest in hollows, and snakes coil within their shade. Humans too have noticed their power, with some cultures using the trees as gathering places and landmarks. A banyan or strangler fig is more than just a plant. It is an ecosystem, a living cathedral capable of reshaping the very terrain beneath it. Jungle clouds release nutrients back to the soil. The jungle does not just recycle water, it also recycles life. As trees release moisture into the air, tiny particles of organic matter rise with it. Pollen grains, fungal spores, fragments of leaves, and even microscopic life are swept upward into forming clouds. When rain falls again, these nutrients return to the soil, feeding plants far below. Scientists studying rainfall in the Amazon have detected traces of phosphorus, nitrogen, and calcium in every drop. This means that rain is not simply water. It is a delivery system for fertility, a skyborne compost heap feeding the earth. In places where jungle soils are thin and easily leached, this nutrient cycle keeps the forest alive. The clouds are not just weather above the trees, they are extensions of the forest itself, rising and falling, carrying the building blocks of life in endless rhythm. The Amazon houses more than 212 million species of insects. The scale of insect diversity in the Amazon is almost beyond human comprehension. Scientists estimate that more than 2.5 million species live there, though only a fraction have been formally described. In a single square mile, thousands of different beetles, moths, ants, and flies can be found, many still unknown to science. Researchers once studied a single tree and uncovered hundreds of unique beetle species clinging to its bark and leaves. These insects pollinate flowers, recycle nutrients, and form the base of the food web that supports everything else. Without them, the jungle would collapse. Their abundance is astonishing. Trillions upon trillions of individuals living and dying in cycles so vast, they are almost invisible to us. To walk through the Amazon is to move through a storm of life so diverse that we may never fully understand it. There are spiders that fish using silk lines. Not all spiders spin delicate webs in branches. Some jungle species specialize in fishing. These spiders wade along the edges of streams, lowering silk threads onto the surface of the water. Sensitive hairs on their legs detect the ripples of insects or small fish below. In an instant, the spider jerks the line upward and captures the prey, wrapping it in silk before it can escape. Some species are even capable of diving beneath the surface, using air bubbles trapped in their hairs to breathe as they pursue underwater prey. Watching a spider fish challenges every assumption we might hold about these creatures. In the jungle, they are not limited to the air or the land. They are hunters of rivers as well, using silk, the same material that catches flies, to reel in creatures from the water's surface. Some vines grow in spiral patterns that twist around trees. The jungle is thick with climbing plants, and many have evolved strategies to secure their place in the race for sunlight. Some vines, called lias, spiral upward around tree trunks in graceful, tightening curves. Their spiral growth is not random. It maximizes stability and allows the vine to cling tightly without breaking. These twisting forms can take on sculptural beauty, wrapping trunks in patterns that look almost deliberate. For animals, the spirals are useful too. Frogs climb them, monkeys swing from them, and birds perch along their coils. Yet beneath the elegance is competition. By entwining around trees, vines often weaken or strangle their hosts, using another's strength to fuel their climb. In this way, the jungle creates shapes that are at once beautiful and ruthless. Spirals that seem like art, but which are really strategies for survival in a crowded world. Jaguars often hunt by swimming. Unlike most big cats, jaguars are at home in the water. They are powerful swimmers, using rivers as hunting grounds. In the flooded forests of the Amazon, they glide silently through channels, their spotted coats blending with dappled light on the surface. Jaguars hunt capybaras, caimans, turtles, and even large fish, using their extraordinary bite to pierce skulls and shells. Their affinity for water makes them unique among the great cats, feared not only on land, but also in the rivers that thread through the jungle. This dual mastery gives jaguars an advantage few predators possess. To see one slip into the water, barely disturbing the surface, is to witness an apex hunter moving with perfect confidence. In the jungle, even rivers are not safe havens. They are extensions of a jaguar's hunting ground, patrolled by stealth and strength combined. Some jungle frogs carry their tadpoles on their backs. Parental care in the jungle takes many surprising forms, and among frogs, some species go to astonishing lengths to protect their young. The poison dart frog, for instance, carries its tadpoles on its back, fing them one by one to tiny pools of water in bromeliads high above the ground. There, each tadpole is deposited in its own miniature pond, safe from predators. The parent may return to feed them, laying unfertilized eggs as food, until the young are strong enough to survive alone. This behavior ensures that more offspring reach maturity despite the dangers of the forest floor. Watching a frog, small enough to rest on a fingertip, carefully carrying its squirming young up into the canopy, shows a tenderness often hidden in the wild. In the jungle, survival is not only about strength and competition, but also about care and devotion across generations. A single tree can drop billions of seeds each year. Reproduction in the jungle often takes place on a grand scale. Some towering trees produce such immense quantities of seeds that their yearly output can number in the billions. Each seed is tiny, a speck carried on the wind, washed into rivers, or spread by animals. Most will never grow, falling to the forest floor where competition is too fierce. But sheer numbers increase the odds that a few will find the light and space needed to thrive. The mass release of seeds can transform the forest, carpeting the ground with potential new life. Birds and mammals gorge on the bounty, spreading seeds even farther. This strategy reflects the jungle's balance, abundance matched with attrition, possibility matched with loss. Every towering tree we see today represents one seed among billions that survived the gauntlet of chance. Some jungle insects mimic leaves so perfectly they disappear. Camouflage in the jungle is an art form perfected by countless species. Among the most striking examples are insects that mimic leaves so precisely they seem to vanish. Leaf insects and certain katydidids have bodies shaped with veins, edges, and even tiny spots that look like decay. When they rest on real leaves, they are almost indistinguishable, fooling predators that rely on sight. Some species even sway gently, as if moved by wind, completing the illusion. This disguise protects them from birds, lizards, and other hunters in the dense forest. The level of mimicry is so astonishing that even trained scientists sometimes overlook them in plain sight. In a place where life is everywhere, sometimes the best survival strategy is invisibility. These insects remind us that in the jungle, being unseen can be as powerful as any weapon. Jungle rivers can reverse their flow with the seasons. In parts of the Amazon basin, rivers behave in ways that defy expectation. During the rainy season, the Amazon swells so massively that its tributaries overflow, reversing their flow. Water that once rushed toward the main river is forced back into surrounding forests and wetlands. Entire regions become submerged, creating flooded jungles where fish swim among tree trunks and dolphins glide beneath branches. This seasonal reversal reshapes the ecosystem, spreading nutrients and opening habitats for countless species. When the waters recede, they leave behind rich soils and pools that sustain life until the rains return. The idea of a river flowing backward may seem impossible, yet in the Amazon, it is part of the yearly rhythm. It is one more reminder that in the jungle, the forces of nature operate on scales both vast and bewildering, sculpting the land in cycles of flood and retreat. The Amazon basin creates its own thunderstorms. The Amazon is so vast and so alive that it can summon storms out of thin air. Each day, billions of trees release water vapor into the atmosphere. This moisture rises, condenses, and forms towering clouds that often ignite into thunderstorms. The storms are not just products of regional weather patterns. They are generated directly by the forest itself. The energy released can be staggering. Lightning flashing across the canopy, thunder rolling through valleys, and torrents of rain that drench the ground in minutes. These self-made storms recycle water, cooling the air and nourishing the soil. Without them, the basin would dry, the trees would wither, and the system would collapse. The Amazon is not just a passive receiver of weather, it is a living engine that generates its own skyborne drama. A forest so vast, it commands the atmosphere above it. Some ant colonies are so large they can be seen from space. Ants are small, but in the jungle, their colonies can rival the scale of cities. Certain leaf-cutter ant colonies sprawl across hundreds of feet underground, with millions of individuals cooperating in a perfectly ordered society. The tunnels and chambers they carve move so much soil that satellite images can reveal their patterns. In parts of South America, entire landscapes are marked by regular mounds, each one showing the site of an ancient colony that may have endured for centuries. These super colonies operate like living machines. Farmers, soldiers, builders, and royalty all working together. The scale is so immense that ants can shape forests, deciding which plants thrive by pruning or harvesting leaves. To realize that something as small as an ant can leave marks visible from space is to understand how collective power can reshape even vast landscapes. Some jungle trees produce fruits larger than basketballs. High in the canopy of South America grows a giant relative of the jackfruit, bearing fruits so enormous they can weigh over 100 pounds. These massive fruits hang straight from the trunks like swollen green lanterns. Inside, hundreds of seeds and sweet pulp provide food for monkeys, birds, and people alike. Their sheer size is an evolutionary strategy. By creating such large and nutrient-rich packages, the tree ensures its seeds will be carried far and wide by many consumers. For those who live near these giants, a single fruit can feed an entire family. Walking beneath their branches, one has to watch carefully. A falling fruit of that size could cause serious injury. The jungle, always abundant, sometimes takes abundance to extremes, producing fruits that dwarf human effort and remind us of the incredible fertility of tropical life. Some jungle rivers flow underground for hundreds of miles. Not all rivers in the jungle run above ground. In certain regions, water carves secret channels beneath the surface, creating underground rivers that flow for hundreds of miles. In Brazil, scientists discovered one such subterranean river, the Hamza, running nearly parallel to the Amazon itself, hidden deep within the earth. Though invisible from the surface, it carries enormous volumes of water, shaping ecosystems in ways only now being understood. These hidden rivers may surface as springs, feeding wetlands or nourishing forests in unexpected places. For centuries, local communities spoke of rivers beneath rivers, their existence dismissed as myth. Now, science confirms that the jungle's hydrology is even more complex than imagined. Water above, water below, all moving in endless cycles. To realize that vast, unseen rivers are coursing silently beneath the jungle is to glimpse a second hidden world flowing underfoot. There are fish that leap into trees to eat fruit. In flooded forests, where rivers rise and submerge entire groves, fish take on remarkable behaviors. One such adaptation is fruit eating. When trees drop berries and figs into the water, schools of fish rush to feed, snapping them up like floating treasure. Some species go further, leaping out of the water to pluck fruit directly from overhanging branches. This diet makes them important seed dispersers, spreading plants across vast areas as they pass seeds intact through their digestive tracts. In a place where trees and rivers merge each season, fish have become gardeners of the forest, carrying new generations of plants to unexpected places. Watching a silver flash leap from the water to snatch fruit is a startling reminder that in the jungle, even the line between river and forest is blurred, and fish play roles we would never imagine in shaping the land. Jungle termites build air-conditioned homes in the sweltering humidity of the jungle. Some termites have engineered their own climate control. Their towering mounds, sometimes taller than a person, are riddled with vents and tunnels that channel air in precise ways. These designs regulate temperature and humidity inside the mound, keeping conditions stable for the millions of termites that live there. Scientists studying the structures have found them to be masterpieces of natural engineering, passive cooling systems that humans now try to replicate in architecture. The termite survival depends on cultivating fungus gardens within their chambers, and maintaining the right environment is critical. To see such a mound is to witness not just a pile of dirt, but a living skyscraper designed by creatures smaller than a fingernail. Their homes stand for decades, outlasting generations of builders, proof of the collective genius woven into jungle life. Some bats sleep inside leaves they fold around themselves in the jungle canopy. Not all bats roost in caves. Some tiny species, like the tent-making bat, carve out a home in broad tropical leaves. They chew through the veins of the leaf so it droops into a protective tent, then crawl inside to rest. During the day, dozens may gather beneath a single shelter, their tiny bodies hidden from predators and rain. By evening, they emerge again, flitting through the trees in search of fruit or insects. The behavior is remarkable not only for its ingenuity, but also for its impact by modifying plants into shelters. These bats act like architects, shaping the forest in small but meaningful ways. To find one of these leafy tents is to discover a secret world folded neatly and green. A reminder that in the jungle, every leaf can become a home for life. Parrots use clay licks to neutralize plant poisons. In many parts of the Amazon, flocks of brightly colored parrots gather on riverbanks where they descend to peck at exposed clay walls. At first glance, the sight of birds eating dirt seems strange. But the clay serves an essential purpose. It neutralizes toxins found in the seeds and fruits that make up much of their diet. The minerals bind to the poisons, allowing the parrots to safely digest food that might otherwise harm them. These gatherings are spectacular. Hundreds of makors and parakeetses crowding the banks, their feathers flashing in a rainbow of hues. Their calls echo over the river as they squabble and feed, turning the clay lick into a living kaleidoscope with sound and color. What looks like unusual behavior is in fact survival strategy. Another example of how animals in the jungle use the land itself as a partner in life. Some jungle frogs are transparent, showing their beating hearts. In the humid jungles of Central and South America live tiny glass frogs, named for their extraordinary appearance. Their skin and even parts of their muscles are translucent, allowing observers to see their bones, organs, and beating hearts. This transparency provides camouflage, blending them into the light speckled leaves they rest upon at night. When viewed from below, they seem almost invisible, their outlines dissolving into the greenery. For scientists, studying glass frogs is like watching biology in motion, a rare window into the inner workings of a living creature. Their delicate bodies also reflect the fragility of their habitats, which are vulnerable to deforestation and climate change. To hold one in the palm is to cradle a living jewel, a creature whose body reveals life's inner rhythms in the most literal and mesmerizing way. In the jungle, some plants release heat to attract insects. Most plants rely on scent or color to attract pollinators, but a few go further, generating heat. These thermogenic plants, such as certain aromas, can raise their temperature well above the surrounding air. The warmth helps spread their scent more effectively, often mimicking the smell of decay to draw in flies and beetles. For the insects, the heated flower also provides a cozy shelter, encouraging them to linger longer and increasing the chances of pollination. The energy cost for the plant is immense, but the payoff is success in reproduction. To walk past one of these blooms is to feel a surprising wave of warmth radiating into the cool jungle air. It is another reminder that in the tropics, survival strategies can seem almost miraculous, as even plants find ways to bend nature's rules to their advantage. Some jungle flowers smell like chocolate or vanilla. Not all jungle scents are heavy and musky. Some flowers have evolved aromas that resemble the sweetest treats. Certain orchids release a fragrance much like vanilla, while others echo the rich scent of chocolate. These perfumes are not meant for us, but for pollinators. Bees, butterflies, and moths are drawn to the sugary aroma that promises nectar and pollen. For humans wandering through the forest, the experience can feel surreal. To catch the scent of dessert in the middle of dense greenery is like stumbling upon an unseen kitchen. The diversity of these fragrances reflects the competition among plants to stand out in a world already overflowing with blossoms. In the jungle, survival may come down to who smells most enticing. By producing the scent of sweetness, flowers create irresistible invitations, reminding us that allure is as much a weapon as color or shape. The Amazon has pink river dolphins that can turn their heads. Gliding through the flooded forests of the Amazon are dolphins unlike any others. Their skin glows with a soft pink hue, ranging from blush to vivid rose, depending on age and activity. Unlike ocean dolphins, these river dwellers have flexible necks, allowing them to turn their heads from side to side. This adaptation helps them navigate tight, twisting waterways, weaving between submerged trees and roots. They also have long, slender snouts, perfect for catching fish in the murky shallows. Local legends often portray them as mystical beings, shapeshifters that walk among humans at night. Scientists, meanwhile, marvel at their intelligence and social behavior. These pink dolphins embody the strange and beautiful adaptations of the Amazon. Mammals that have left the open seas behind to master rivers instead, living among flooded jungles where water and forest blend into cry. One extraordinary realm. Certain ants keep aphids as tiny cattle. Ants in the jungle have perfected farming, not only with fungi, but also with living creatures. Some species herd and protect aphids, treating them much like farmers treat cattle. The aphids feed on plant sap and excrete a sweet liquid called honeydew, which the ants eagerly collect. In return, the ants guard their tiny herds from predators and even move them to fresh leaves when food runs out. This mutual relationship blurs the line between instinct and agriculture. Watching a line of ants tending to aphids reveals a miniature pastoral scene played out on stems and leaves instead of fields and barns. The ants stroke the aphids gently with their antennae to encourage more honeydew, a gesture both strange and tender. In the dense jungle, where survival often means invention, ants have reinvented farming again and again, showing that cooperation can evolve in many unexpected forms. Some jungle trees can pump water against gravity to great heights. Towering jungle trees rise more than 200 feet, yet every leaf at the top requires water drawn from the soil below. To achieve this, trees perform one of nature's greatest feats. Through a combination of root pressure, capillary action, and the pull of evaporation, they pump water upward against gravity through xylem tubes thinner than a hair. At full strength, a single tree can move hundreds of gallons in a day. The process is so efficient that water can climb to dizzying heights without mechanical pumps or moving parts. Scientists still marvel at the exact physics which rely on cohesion among water molecules, each droplet pulling the next upward in an unbroken chain. To stand beneath such a tree is to stand under a living pump system operating silently, a reminder that the jungle's giants are not passive, but engines of flow and life. The canopy is so dense it can take rain 10 minutes to reach the ground. When storms break over the jungle, rain does not always fall directly to the soil. Instead, it lands first on the canopy, where vast layers of leaves intercept the drops. Water trickles slowly downward, bouncing from leaf to leaf, pooling briefly and dripping again. In some forests, this cascade can take up to 10 minutes to reach the ground. The delay creates a constant rhythmic soundscape, the roar of rain above followed by softer drips below. It also affects life at every level. Epiphytes drink directly from canopy leaves. Frogs hide in the miniature pools that form, and the forest floor receives a gentle, filtered rain instead of a flood. What feels like one storm is really many storms, staggered in time. Even water learns patience in the jungle, turning a single rainfall into an extended performance across layers of green. Some vines can store water inside their hollow stems. In the heat of the jungle, water is everywhere, but not always where you need it. Some vines, called water, have developed the ability to store large amounts of water in their hollow stems. Indigenous people have long known how to cut into these vines and drink from them, using them as natural cantons. For animals, these vines provide crucial reserves during dry spells, offering hydration when streams run low. The stored water is often cool and clean, naturally filtered by the plant. These vines are more than simple climbers. They are reservoirs, lifelines stretching high above the forest floor. In a place where survival can depend on access to fresh water, their adaptation is a quiet wonder. Hidden within their woody shells, they hold the essence of life, waiting to be tapped when the jungle grows thirsty. The jungle floor can remain wet for weeks after a storm. Rain does not disappear quickly here. Once it falls, the dense canopy, thick undergrowth, and heavy soils trap water in many forms. Puddles linger for weeks, nourishing mosquitoes and frogs. Mosses and fungi soak up the moisture and release it slowly. Even the air stays damp, humidity pressing against the skin. For humans, this wetness can feel overwhelming. But for life, it is a steady gift. Seeds sprout quickly in moist soil, leaves stay lush, and amphibians flourish. The downside is that decay also accelerates. Fallen branches rot within days, returning nutrients to the ground. The jungle is a place where water is never truly absent. Even after storms pass, their legacy remains for weeks, soaking the earth, saturating the air, and sustaining the endless cycle of life that flourishes in the shadows of the green cathedral. Some insects sing at volumes louder than chainsaws. The jungle is alive with sound, and some of its loudest performers are tiny insects. Certain cicadas and catids produce calls so powerful they can exceed 100 decibels, louder than a chainsaw at close range. Their sounds are created by vibrating special membranes amplified by hollow bodies. To human ears, the noise can be overwhelming, a wall of sound that fills the air from dawn until dusk. For the insects, however, it is essential communication, drawing mates and staking territories. The den creates a chorus that defines the jungle's soundscape, blending with birds, frogs, and monkeys into an almost continuous roar of life. At night, other insects take over, ensuring the music never stops. The fact that such tiny creatures can produce such overwhelming sound is one of the jungle's paradoxes. The smallest voices often make the loudest mark. In some jungles, day and night are equally loud with life. Silence is rare in the jungle. By day, birds call, monkeys shriek, and insects buzz in deafening layers. As the sun sets, a shift occurs, but not into quiet. Instead, frogs begin their croaks, cicadas scream, and nocturnal creatures add their voices. The sound may change in tone, but not in intensity. In some forests, the nighttime chorus is just as loud as the daytime one, creating a continuous cycle of noise that never truly ceases. For those unaccustomed, the jungle can feel overwhelming, as though the air itself vibrates with voices. Yet for the creatures within, this is the language of survival. Calls to mates, warnings of predators, and declarations of presence. In this way, the jungle is always awake. Whether bathed in sunlight or cloaked in darkness, life fills every moment with sound, refusing to let the forest rest. Some plants can grow entirely inside the hollows of trees. Trees in the jungle are not always solitary beings. Many host entire gardens within their hollows. Seeds carried by birds or wind settle into crevices where water and decaying leaves collect. There they sprout into small ferns, orchids, or even miniature trees. Over time, these inner residents grow into lush microforests inside the larger host. Some animals depend on them, nesting in the hollows or drinking from the water that collects there. The result is a layered system, one tree hosting many, each supporting further webs of life. From the outside, the tree may appear ordinary, but within it is a hidden world of greenery. The jungle, already dense and layered, folds in upon itself, turning even a single trunk into a habitat. It is a reminder that in this environment, no space is wasted. Every crevice becomes an opportunity for life. The Amazon is home to the world's largest snake, the green anaconda. In the swamps and rivers of the Amazon lurks the green anaconda, the heaviest snake in the world. Some individuals can grow over 25 feet long and weigh more than 500 pounds. Despite their massive size, these snakes are stealth hunters. They lie submerged in water, eyes and nostrils barely above the surface, waiting for prey to approach. When the moment comes, they strike with incredible speed, coiling their muscular bodies around capybaras, caimans, or even deer. Unlike venomous snakes, anacondas kill by constriction, tightening until their prey can no longer breathe. Though their reputation inspires fear, attacks on humans are exceedingly rare. More often, these giants play an essential role in controlling populations of other large animals. To see one is to glimpse raw power and ancient design, a living reminder of the prehistoric world where reptiles once ruled with quiet patience and overwhelming strength. Jungle bees can make blue or red honey depending on the flowers. Most honey we know is golden, but in the jungles, bees sometimes create honey in extraordinary colors. By collecting nectar from unusual flowers or even fruit, their honey can take on shades of blue, red, or deep purple. The color reflects the chemistry of the plants, rich in pigments and unique compounds not found elsewhere. These honeys are rare, often seasonal, and sometimes used in traditional medicines for their unusual properties. In local markets, jars of vividly colored honey look almost unreal, shimmering like stained glass. For the bees, of course, it is simply food, concentrated energy to sustain their hives. For humans, it is a reminder of how diverse and surprising the jungle's offerings can be. Even something as familiar as honey becomes extraordinary when filtered through the infinite variety of tropical plants and the tireless work of bees. Some monkeys teach their young complex calls. In the noisy jungle, communication is essential, and some monkeys pass down their knowledge through teaching. Young monkeys learn to recognize and reproduce alarm calls that warn of predators. as well as social calls that signal food or maintain group bonds. Studies have shown that older individuals actively correct mistakes, reinforcing the right sounds until the young can produce them accurately. This learning process mirrors aspects of human language where culture and practice shape communication. In species like capuchins and howler monkeys, the range of calls is vast, each with subtle variations. The fact that these vocal traditions are taught, not just instinctive, suggests that monkey societies are rich with culture passed between generations. In the Calipe, every voice is part of a conversation, one that echoes through families, teaching survival and connection in a world that demands both vigilance and cooperation. There are plants that can grow new leaves in a single night. Growth in the jungle is often explosive, and some plants push the limits of speed. Certain species can produce new leaves so rapidly that they unfurl overnight. At dusk, a bud may be tightly coiled, but by morning it is spread wide, capturing sunlight. This acceleration allows the plant to take advantage of sudden rains or breaks in the canopy. Observers describe the sound of leaves cracking and stretching as they grow, a faint rustle in the darkness. The rapid growth comes at a cost, thin tissues that are vulnerable to insects and disease. Yet the gamble often pays off, giving the plant a head start in the endless race for light. To wake and see new green where none existed the evening before is to witness the jungle's restless energy, where life never pauses, even in the hours when we sleep. Jungle ants have social systems more complex than many mammals. Ant colonies in the jungle are paragons of organization. Millions of individuals live in intricate societies with divisions of labor so precise they rival the complexity of mammalian communities. Workers forage, soldiers defend, nurses care for the young, and specialized castes perform unique roles. Asterisk. Communication is constant, using chemical signals that function like a language, coordinating activity across great distances. Some colonies wage wars, form alliances, or even enslave other ants, displaying behaviors that echo politics and strategy. The colony itself acts like a superorganism, with each ant serving as a cell within a larger body. Scientists who study these systems compare them to human cities, dynamic, ordered, and endlessly adaptive. To watch a column of jungle ants is to witness not chaos, but choreography, a collective intelligence greater than the sum of its parts, flowing beneath the forest floor and through the canopy alike. Some butterflies can see light invisible to humans. Butterflies in the jungle perceive the world in ways we cannot. Many species can see ultraviolet light, a spectrum invisible to human eyes. To us, their wings may appear simply colorful, but to them, they are covered in hidden patterns, glowing with ultraviolet signals. These markings act like secret codes, guiding courtship, territory, and recognition. The ability extends beyond wings. Flowers, too, reveal ultraviolet nectar guides, luminous pathways pointing pollinators toward food. For butterflies, the jungle is painted in colors we can only imagine. A kaleidoscope far richer than what we perceive. Scientists have used special cameras to glimpse this hidden world. But for the butterflies, it is simply reality. They move through forests lit with signals invisible to us. Proof that the jungle holds dimensions of beauty forever beyond our direct experience, reserved for eyes tuned to other frequencies of light. The Amazon's flooded forests create underwater jungles. Each rainy season, the Amazon swells and overflows, submerging vast areas of forest. Entire groves of trees vanish beneath muddy waters, creating surreal underwater jungles. Fish swim among trunks and branches, feeding on fruits and seeds that drop into the water. Dolphins glide through the flooded groves, hunting in a world where the boundary between land and river has dissolved. For months, these submerged forests thrive as aquatic ecosystems, supporting unique species adapted to the cycle of flood and retreat. When the waters recede, the ground reappears, enriched by nutrients carried in the flood. This seasonal transformation is one of the most dramatic in nature, forests becoming rivers, rivers becoming forests. It shows how flexible life can be in the tropics, where ecosystems do not remain fixed, but shift fluidly, adapting to the pulse of rain that drives everything. Some trees release seeds that can float across oceans. The jungle's reach often extend beyond its own borders. Certain trees like mangroves and coconuts release seeds designed to float for months or even years across the sea. Encased in tough shells, these seeds drift with currents carried to distant shores, where they may sprout into new forests. This strategy has allowed tropical plants to colonize islands and coastlines far from their origins, turning the ocean itself into a dispersal network. For centuries, sailors found coconuts washed up on beaches thousands of miles from where they grew, proof of their endurance. Each floating seed carries not only the potential for a new tree, but also the story of resilience and expansion. In this way, jungles are not confined to land. They send emissaries adrift, trusting the sea to carry their lineage into the unknown, expanding the green frontier one seed at a time. Jungle rainfall can be recycled several times before leaving the forest. Rain in the jungle does not simply fall once and vanish. The process of transpiration, trees releasing moisture into the air, ensures that much of it cycles back as new rain. Studies in the Amazon suggest that a single droplet of water can fall, evaporate, and fall again as many as 5 or 6 times before drifting away. This recycling effect keeps the forest perpetually moist, maintaining the lushness that defines it. Without this system, the Amazon and other jungles would dry dramatically, unable to sustain their vast biodiversity. Each cycle of rainfall is like a heartbeat, pulsing through the forest, renewing life again and again. It means that the jungle's rains are not only a gift from the sky, but also a creation of the forest itself, a self-sustaining loop that embodies the balance and interdependence of life within it. There are lizards that run across water. In the sunlit streams of the jungle lives the basilisk lizard, often nicknamed the Jesus Christ lizard, for its astonishing ability to run across water. When threatened, it dashes upright on its hind legs, slapping the surface with its feet in rapid succession. Specialized fringes on its toes trap air, giving it enough lift to keep from sinking for several yards before it drops beneath the surface. This skill allows it to escape predators quickly, vanishing into the opposite bank or diving to safety. Watching one sprint across a pond is like witnessing a miracle, a defiance of gravity and expectation. For the basilisk, it is simply survival, but for observers, it feels like magic made real. In the jungle, even physics seems flexible, and creatures find ways to turn water into a pathway rather than a barrier. Some jungle trees can explode when struck by lightning. In the dense humidity of the jungle, lightning strikes carry astonishing power. When they hit certain trees, the heat is so intense that the water stored inside the trunk instantly vaporizes. The sudden expansion creates explosive pressure, causing the tree to split apart or even shatter violently. Massive chunks of wood are hurled outward, leaving behind a scarred crater of splinters. For animals sheltering nearby, the event can be deadly. like a natural bond erupting from the canopy. These explosions are rare, but they remind us of the immense energy locked inside even a single storm. To witness one is to see nature's raw power released in an instant. Electricity, water, and wood combining into a devastating burst. In the jungle, where everything holds water, even lightning is amplified, turning trees into thunderclaps of destruction and altering the forest in a flash. Orchids in jungles have more than 25,000 species. The orchid family is one of the largest groups of flowering plants on Earth, and jungles are their greatest stage. With more than 25,000 known species, orchids come in a dizzying array of colors, shapes, and strategies. Some mimic insects to lure pollinators. Others bloom only at night, and still others thrive high in the canopy, drinking rain from the air. Each species is finely tuned to its environment, its survival tied to specific pollinators or conditions. Some are so rare, they bloom only once every few years. For people exploring the jungle, the sight of orchids feels like a hidden treasure. Delicate splashes of beauty among the endless green. To realize that tens of thousands of variations exist is to grasp the depth of biodiversity within tropical forests. Orchids are not just flowers. They are emblems of adaptation, diversity, and the jungle's infinite creativity. Certain insects communicate using drums on leaves. Communication in the jungle is not limited to sound, and some insects use vibration. Katydids and tree hoppers, for example, tap or drum on leaves to send messages. The vibrations travel through plant tissues, reaching others nearby who respond in kind. To human ears, these signals are silent, but with special equipment, scientists can hear the rhythms, patterns of knocks and pulses that carry information about territory, mating, or danger. Entire conversations unfold across a network of leaves, hidden beneath the louder calls of birds and frogs. This form of communication shows that the jungle has layers of voices, some audible, others secret and subtle. The forest is not only alive with sound, but also with invisible tremors, a silent orchestra playing beneath the cacophony. For the insects tapping their tiny drums, each leaf is both a stage and a telephone line. Some jungle frogs guard their eggs from predators. Parental care in the jungle often takes remarkable forms, especially among frogs. While many simply lay eggs and depart, some species actively guard their clutches. They remain nearby, fending off ants, insects, and other small predators that might consume the vulnerable eggs. In some cases, the parent hydrates the eggs by carrying water in its skin or by sitting atop them to keep them moist. These efforts dramatically increase the chances of survival in a place where danger is constant. The devotion is striking in animals so small, yet it shows the universal power of parental instinct. Each guarded clutch represents a gamble of energy and risk, but the reward is the continuation of the species. In the chaos of the jungle, where life is abundant but fragile, the quiet image of a frog watching over its eggs reveals tenderness amid struggle. Fireflies and jungles can synchronize their flashes. In the warm nights of the jungle, fireflies sometimes gather in astonishing displays. Instead of flashing at random, entire groups coordinate their pulses of light, glowing and dooming in unison. These synchronized flashes can stretch across trees and riverbanks, creating waves of light that ripple through the darkness. The effect is mesmerizing. as though the forest itself is breathing with luminous rhythm. Scientists believe the synchronization helps males attract females more effectively, creating a chorus of light, much like the songs of frogs or cicadas. For humans, witnessing such a display feels like stepping into another world where stars have descended into the branches. The jungle is already alive with sound, scent, and movement. But in these moments, it also becomes alive with light, a symphony of biology and physics, a reminder that beauty is as integral to survival as strength or cunning. Some plants can change their leaf shape as they grow taller. Adaptation in the jungle often means flexibility, and some plants take this literally. Certain species change the shape of their leaves as they mature. Young plants growing in the dim light of the understory produce broad, thin leaves to capture as much sunlight as possible. As they climb higher and reach the brighter canopy, their leaves become narrower, thicker, or differently angled to withstand stronger light and wind. This transformation allows one plant to optimize survival at different stages of growth. To the observer, it may seem like two different species until closer inspection reveals the truth. This ability to alter form over time is one more way the jungle fosters resilience. Life here is not static. It evolves within a single lifetime, reshaping itself to meet challenges as they come, showing that even leaves are dynamic tools of survival. The Amazon jungle alone stores more carbon than any other ecosystem. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth, and for good reason. Its vast expanse of trees and plants stores more carbon than any other ecosystem on the planet. Each year, billions of tons of carbon dioxide are absorbed from the atmosphere, locked away in trunks, roots, and soils. This storage slows the pace of climate change, acting as a buffer for the entire Earth. When the forest is damaged, however, that carbon can be released back, magnifying global warming. Scientists studying the Amazon emphasized that protecting it is not only a matter of conserving biodiversity, but also of safeguarding the planet's climate balance. To imagine billions of trees working in concert to regulate the air we breathe is humbling. The Amazon is more than a forest of life. It is a planetary safeguard, quietly stabilizing Earth's atmosphere with every breath of green. Some jungle trees are older than recorded human history. Amid the ever-changing jungle, where decay and renewal happen constantly, there are trees that endure for millennia. Some massive individuals, like certain sour or fig trees, have lifespans stretching back thousands of years. They were already old when human civilizations first began to record their histories. These giants bear witness to centuries of storms, floods, and human arrivals, standing as living monuments to resilience. Their immense trunks host entire communities of life, from orchids to insects to monkeys, each relying on the stability of the ancient host. For local cultures, these trees often become sacred symbols, their age lending them authority and reverence. To stand beneath one is to feel time collapse, to realize that the span of human memory is short compared to the life of a tree. The jungle holds not only life abundant, but also life ancient, beyond imagination. There are fungi that glow green in the dark. On damp jungle nights, faint green glows sometimes appear on fallen logs or leaf litter. These are bioluminescent fungi, organisms that produce their own light through chemical reactions. The glow, sometimes called foxfire, can be bright enough to read by in the darkest corners of the forest. Scientists believe the light may attract insects that help spread spores, or it may serve as a defense by startling predators. Whatever the purpose, the effect is enchanting. A rotting log becomes a lantern, the forest floor sprinkled with glowing stars. For humans, stumbling upon this glow feels magical, as though the earth itself is lit from within. The fact that decay, usually hidden and silent, can shine so beautifully is a reminder that in the jungle, even endings are luminous. And even fungi participate in the forest's endless celebration of life. Enter renewal. Some jungle fish can survive entirely out of water for hours. In the fluctuating rivers of the jungle, some fish have evolved to survive on land for surprising lengths of time. Species like the walking catfish and certain eels can breathe air directly, wriggling across mud or through vegetation in search of new water. During the dry season, when pools shrink and oxygen dwindles, this ability becomes essential. Some even burrow into damp soil, waiting until rains return. Watching a fish move across land challenges our very definition of what a fish is. These creatures blur the line between water and earth, hinting at the ancient evolutionary transitions that gave rise to amphibians. In the jungle, they are simply survivors, using ingenuity to endure the shifting rhythms of flood and drought. They remind us that life here is endlessly adaptable, finding ways to persist in places where we least expect it. Jungle animals create complex highways through the underbrush. In the dense jungle, movement is difficult. Vines tangle, roots rise, and shrubs block the way. Yet animals have solved this challenge by carving invisible highways. Generations of tapirs, peccaries, jaguars, and monkeys follow the same paths, trampling trails into the underbrush. These corridors become so well established that other creatures begin to use them, creating a shared network of passageways. For researchers, discovering one of these trails is like uncovering a hidden road system with crossroads and shortcuts. These natural highways allow predators to hunt more efficiently and prey to escape with speed. They connect water sources, feeding grounds, and nesting areas, tying the jungle into a living map. Though invisible from above, these paths act as vital arteries of the forest, shaped not by humans, but by the daily movements of countless animals, each step carving order into the green wilderness. The Amazon contains more than 400 indigenous tribes. Beyond plants and animals, the Amazon is also home to remarkable human diversity. More than 400 distinct indigenous tribes live within its boundaries, each with its own language, traditions, and way of life. Some maintain regular contact with the outside world, while others remain uncontacted, choosing to live in complete isolation. Each group carries knowledge honed over millennia, medicines derived from plants, techniques for hunting and farming, and spiritual traditions deeply tied to the forest. Their presence reveals that the jungle is not a wilderness devoid of people, but a landscape shaped by human stewardship as well as natural forces. Protecting the forest often means protecting these communities, whose survival is bound to its health. To acknowledge them is to remember that the Amazon is not just a sanctuary of biodiversity, but also of human culture, resilience, and memory stretching back countless generations. Some jungle trees produce natural rubber, The heavier Brazilian cease tree, native to the Amazon, is the source of natural rubber, a substance that has changed human history. When its bark is tapped, a milky latex flows, which can be processed into the elastic material we know today. For centuries, indigenous peoples used rubber to waterproof clothing, make balls for games, and create durable tools. In the 19th century, rubber extraction fueled global industries, from tires to electrical insulation. This boom reshaped economies and societies, sometimes with devastating impacts on local communities. Yet, in the jungle, the rubber tree remains simply part of the fabric of life, one of many plants with remarkable properties. Its gift is both practical and symbolic: resilience, flexibility, and strength. To see a tree bleed white sap is to realize how many of humanity's inventions trace back to the hidden laboratories of the forest. Certain frogs lay eggs that hatch directly into frolets. In the jungle, survival often means skipping dangerous stages of life. Some frog species avoid the vulnerable tadpole stage altogether. They lay eggs that develop fully inside their protective capsules, hatching directly into tiny, fully formed froglets. This strategy spares the young from aquatic predators, such as fish or insects, giving them a head start on land. For the parent, it requires investing more energy into each egg, but the payoff is higher survival rates. Watching a clutch of eggs hatch into miniature frogs is like seeing evolution fast-forwarded, the usual cycle compressed into a single leap. These species reveal the creativity of life in adapting to danger, finding new ways to continue in a forest filled with hazards. Each froglet hopping free from its egg is a triumph of adaptation, proof that even reproduction can bend to the challenges of the jungle. Some jungle insects can jump distances many times their body length. Among the undergrowth, tiny insects perform athletic feats that seem impossible. Flea beetles, frog hoppers, and certain grasshoppers can leap more than 100 times their own body length. For a human, that would be like jumping the length of a football field in a single bound. These insects store energy in specialized leg structures, like biological springs, releasing it in explosive bursts. Their leaps serve as both escape and attack, allowing them to vanish from predators or launch onto food plants with precision. In the dense jumble floor, where predators lurk at every turn, the ability to disappear in an instant can mean survival. Observing such leaps reminds us that size is not a barrier to power. Even the smallest beings can command astonishing abilities, moving through the forest not with stealth or strength, but with sudden, gravity-defying speed. The canopy's leaves create a soundscape of constant dripping water. In the jungle, even silence is filled with sound. After a rainstorm, the canopy holds thousands of gallons of water suspended on its leaves. Drop by drop, the water falls, creating a ceaseless chorus of drips, splashes, and trickles. The sound continues long after the rain has ended, a background rhythm that defines the forest's mood. For animals, this dripping sound becomes part of their daily lives, masking movements and offering cover for calls. For humans, it is hypnotic, a reminder of the forest's constant cycle of water and renewal. The canopy is not just a barrier above, it is a living instrument, turning rainfall into music. To sit beneath it is to listen to a concert of water and leaf, endless and gentle, a soundtrack to the persistence of life in one of the planet's wettest and most abundant environments. Some plants can store toxins to defend against herbivores. The jungle is a place of constant battles between plants and the creatures that eat them. To survive, many plants produce toxins in their leaves, stems, or fruits. These chemicals can deter herbivores, making them bitter, nauseating, or even deadly to consume. Some species go further, storing toxins at high concentrations as a defense against persistent predators. Yet animals adapt too. Certain insects and birds evolve immunity, allowing them to feed on toxic plants, while others cannot. In some cases, animals even turn the toxins to their advantage, using them as defense against their own predators. This arms race between plants and consumers drives much of the jungle's diversity. Every bite carries risk, every leaf a potential trap. To walk through the forest is to stroll through a vast battlefield, where survival is written not only in claws and teeth, but in chemistry. The Amazon River Basin is larger than the whole of Europe. The Amazon River Basin is almost unimaginably vast, covering more than 212 million square miles. That makes it larger than the entire continent of Europe. Within this expanse lies the world's largest river by volume, the longest stretches of unbroken forest, and countless ecosystems woven together into one giant system. The scale is so immense that the basin influences global weather patterns, generating rainfall far beyond South America. From above, it appears as an endless carpet of green, broken only by winding rivers that gleam like silver threads. To grasp its size is to recognize the Amazon not as a single forest, but as a continent-spanning entity, a living, breathing part of Earth itself. Its reach in water, carbon, and climate extends to every corner of the globe, binding distant lands to the rhythms of its rivers and trees. Some jungle creatures remain completely unknown to science. Despite centuries of exploration, the jungle still hides secrets. Scientists estimate that millions of species, insects, fungi, plants, and even larger animals remain undiscovered. Some may live in canopy layers rarely studied, others in soils or river depths too difficult to reach. Occasionally, new discoveries astound the world. A frog that sings in unique tones, a monkey with striking features, or a tiny insect with previously unseen behaviors. Yet countless more remain unnamed, living entire lives unseen by human eyes. The jungle is not just a place of known wonders. It is a realm of mystery, where each expedition might uncover life never before recorded. This hidden abundance reminds us of our limits, that even in the age of satellites and global maps, vast swaths of life remain beyond our knowledge, thriving in silence and secrecy beneath the leaves. Jungles are so vast that entire species may live and die without ever being seen. The jungle is not just abundant, it is overwhelming. Its scale allows species to evolve, flourish, and disappear without ever being observed by humans. Remote valleys, unreachable canopies, and flooded forests shelter creatures that no one has yet recorded. Their songs, colors, and behaviors exist in vivid detail, but only for themselves and the ecosystems around them. To us, they remain unseen, like ghosts of possibility. This truth humbles scientists, who know that what we have cataloged is only a small part of the whole. It also makes the loss of jungle habitats even more tragic. When a stretch of forest vanishes, it may take with it species we never knew existed, stories never told, voices never heard. The jungle reminds us that the world is far larger and stranger than we understand, filled with lives unfolding beyond our sight. And so, we come to the end of our journey. We've wandered beneath the canopy, where rain lingers before falling, where flowers smell like chocolate, where ants farm and fungi glow, and where rivers themselves rise and fade with the seasons. We've glimpsed pink dolphins gliding between trees, birds that can outlive generations, and frogs that carry their young with tender care. We've seen how the forest makes its own storms, breathes its own sky, and holds entire worlds, human and animal, within its embrace. The jungle is not just a place, it is a living engine of the earth, breathing in rhythm with the planet, sustaining life in ways both visible and unseen. It is at once fierce and gentle, perilous and nurturing, abundant beyond measure. And though we've traced just a handful of its wonders, it stretches on without end, an eternal green ocean of secrets. As you rest now, you might let your mind hold on to the quiet rhythm of dripping water, the chorus of unseen voices, the soft glow of fireflies in the dark. Each sound, each breath of mist, each flicker of light is part of the same vast story, the story of a world endlessly alive. If you've enjoyed drifting through this gentle exploration, you might consider liking or subscribing, or even leaving a small comment down below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, you don't need to do anything at all. Let the sounds of the day fade away. Feel the weight of your body ease into stillness. Let your breathing soften and your thoughts drift lighter and lighter. You are safe. You are calm. And you are part of the same great web of life that stretches across every forest, every tree, every drop of rain. The jungle will keep breathing even as you fall asleep. It will sing and grow and dream on your behalf. And when you are ready, the next video will be waiting to carry you somewhere new. For now, close your eyes, rest deeply, and let yourself drift. Good night.